Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. Here's a little bit crazy. My name is Rebecca Giannini. This is my group. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you are a long-standing member, hi, so glad that you're here. If you are watching this on YouTube, hi. Not many of you on YouTube, but that's okay. I'm so glad for the ones of you that watch every single week. Hi. I am so proud of you that you are here, and you should be proud of yourself too, because we don't always talk about easy things. Sometimes we talk about difficult things, and you keep showing up, and for that you get to be proud of yourself. And for those of you who are new, I'm Rebecca Giannini. I'm a parenting and relationship coach, and it is my honor, it is my joy to do this work with families, to create, to help families create the best dynamic available. And we do such powerful work. It is, we heal generational trauma. We eliminate yelling, we eliminate threats, we work on boundaries, we work on listening and our view of self, our self-concept. I call that the internal framework. We work on reparenting ourselves. We do so much magic here. And so buckle up. Tonight we are doing a member request. Oh, I forgot part of my spiel. I go live every single week on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I do take requests. Tonight is a member request, and she said, why do my kids, what did she say? Why are my kids great in public and terrible at home? This is a common this is a common thing that I hear from lots of families, lots of clients. And there are parts of this that's just so frustrating, and there's really good news about it as well. So the first thing I'll say, I'll give you the good news first. The good news is if your kids tend to behave really well in public or at school or with their grandparents or whatever, and then all of their behavior comes out at home and they melt down and they have these, long episodes of what I would call an emotional storm at home. The good news about that is that what it means is your kids have a different level of safety at home that they probably don't have in those other places. So sometimes what happens is our kids are what I call white knuckling it at school or at daycare or whatever it happens to be. And then finally, when they get into the home environment, which feels safe, they have space to melt down. And that's probably difficult for you because you're like, I know you can do this. You do it for your teachers. Why can't you do it for me? I know that you can, I know that you can behave well, but at home you totally lose it. So that can be really frustrating for the parent, but know that it does mean that they feel a little bit more relaxed at home, or they feel like it's safe enough for them to melt down at home. That is the good news. Now, there also can be an element of it, of this learned pattern of being stuck in not being able to process their emotions. So if they're stuffing down their feelings at school all day and they can't talk about it, they can't get the help they need, and then they are, melting down at home, but you're not actually helping them process, or they're not actually navigating the trigger or moving through whatever issue is that's causing them to melt down, then it's going to be a repeated pattern, and it will be like a vicious cycle that repeats itself, because they're going to still be white knuckling it out and about, and then they're going to keep melting down, and they're never going to learn to navigate the skills that they need to handle whatever stressors are happening at school. So what we would want to do is give them give them the space to melt down at home, but then make sure that we're truly processing with them and helping equip them with the skills that they need so that it doesn't keep happening where they're so triggered and white knuckling it all the time, and then therefore having to lose it at home. So why does it happen? For a couple of reasons that we just talked about, but what do we do about it? We help them process, and we're going to do that through reflective listening. We're going to do that through helping them name their emotions. And when we're done with that, we're going to help them with the skills they need. So we're going to problem solve. We're going to work on the skills that they are currently showing you that they don't have. So let me think of an example to kind of help solidify this. So let's say your kids are dealing with, friend issues at school, and they can't get the help they need because the teacher is, overwhelmed, and she's got all of these kids, or he's got all of these kids that he's dealing with. And so they don't have time to help facilitate, a peer-to-peer interaction that works out in a healthy way. So your kid is white knuckling it at school because they're so frustrated that they keep, losing out to this other child, and it's starting to affect their friend group. And so they're keeping it under wraps at school. But then when they get home, there's the stress of this recurring situation. It probably affects the school in the morning. So getting ready for school maybe is a stressor. So you're having these extra fights at home based on, some sort of school situation that's happening. So we're going to need to help them process it, because they might not be able to make that connection between my struggle with getting ready for school in the morning or my meltdown on the car ride home with the stressor that's happening at school. They might not be able to make that connection. So we're going to use reflective listening to help them process that. And if you want the resources we have on reflective listening, which I highly recommend, just put that in the comments, put reflective listening in the comments, or just RL in the comments, and I will have either Christina or Tiara reach out to you and get you those resources, because that's going to be paramount to helping them process. But then we're going to have to actively help them make the connection between their behavior and where that's originating from. So we use reflective listening to help them process. We help them make the association that they need to make, and then we're going to help them work on the skill. So the skill might be several skills, but one of the skills might be needing to ask for help from the teacher. One of the skills might be that they need to advocate for themselves, or advocate is the right word, advocate for themselves in a peer-to-peer relationship, and they don't know how to do that. So they might need specific language to use. You might need to do some role playing with them so that they can have practice thinking about a specific situation and having a different outcome. They might need to work on asking for help after the fact when something has happened with the teacher, or asking for help at home, processing that emotion, instead of taking something from their brother or sister and then causing a fight that way, to help them process that negative emotion. So there are a couple of different things that they might need for that situation. Now the same thing goes with a child who is who doesn't feel like they can advocate for themselves when they're at grandma's house, and they're behaving at grandma's house, but really what they're doing is complying. So they're complying at grandma's house, and then when they get home, the stress of not making a mistake when they were at grandma's house is what they're navigating. So they might need they are going to need help processing how scary it is to not be able to make mistakes, and maybe they need help talking to grandma about it, or maybe grandma needs help, and grandma needs help talking to mom or dad about it. So, but we're not going to be able to identify the skills that the child needs if we're not able to help them process what the incident that the behavior is originating from. I'm going to quickly check the comments to see if there are any questions so far. I'm not seeing any comments. And like I've said a million times, sometimes there is a delay between when you put in the comment and when I can see it. I don't know why Facebook does that, but it happens. So if you do have a comment, please put it in the chat and I will get back to it when I see it, or I'll have Christina and Tiara get back to it if it's something where you're in need of resources. That's the long and short of it. We want to make home a safe place where our kids can melt down, but we also want to make sure that we're equipping them with the skills they need. So we're having less meltdowns. Not that we want them to stuff down their feelings. We want them to process through them, and we want them to have the skills they need to navigate life more effectively. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Again, I'll be live next week. And the week after that, and the week after that. One of the things that I want to say to you, listener, is that this work it can be so exhausting. And when we have other things going on in our lives that are also exhausting us, it can be difficult to allocate time toward learning. I can tell you that, in my family this week, this last month, it's been really difficult. We've been navigating some medical issues with somebody I care deeply about, and it has very much depleted a lot of my resources. And when we are depleted, it can be really difficult to advocate for ourselves and allocate time for ourselves to get our needs met. Self-care can be difficult. Learning can be difficult, and taking care of ourselves can be difficult when we are navigating these outside stressors. And so if your kids have become a source of your stress, it can be really easy to direct your anger toward them, or to direct your frustration toward them, and that might mean more yelling in your house. That might mean a lot of things, but it's so important that you learn to take care of yourself, and that you learn self-care, true self-care, in the midst of really difficult situations. And I don't just mean, putting cucumbers on your eyes, or going to yoga class, or going for a run, or doing those sort of things. Those are wonderful, and please do those things, yes. But when I say self-care, I'm talking about the inner work of loving yourself, the inner work of offering yourself compassion for the mistakes that you're making, offering yourself space to be sad, offering yourself deep, meaningful care. It's such an important part of our journey, and it's such an important part of us being able to get to the next step. We do have so many resources as well on reparenting, which is what everybody needs to be doing in order to cultivate the amount of love that you need for yourself to do the work that's necessary on this journey. If you don't love yourself, you're going to be harming others. If you don't truly look in the mirror and love who you are, and love yourself, love your inner child, love your past self for the mistakes you made, if you cannot look at yourself and truly love yourself, you're going to continue to cause harm to the people that you care about most. And so it's such an important part of the journey. You deserve love. You deserve so much compassion and so much care, even in the midst of the mistakes you're making. Even though the mistakes that you make have harmed and continue to harm others. We are not going to learn to do better by making ourselves feel awful. We are not going to learn how to do better by berating ourselves. We are not going to learn how to do better by shaming ourselves. We're not. We don't behave well when we feel awful. We behave well when we feel loved, when we feel safe, when we feel cared for. And we want to learn how to offer that care toward ourselves. That's how we heal. That's how we make space for making new decisions. There's an inner child in you that's struggling when you are struggling to navigate these things with your kids, when you're struggling to navigate these things with your partner, there's an inner child in you that's also struggling. And that inner child deserves loving care and support every step of the way. It is my honor to do that work with you and so many others. And for some of you, it's just the time that I get with you is these weekly moments when you can watch from behind a screen. But for some of you, you guys are ready to join and dive into the that work with loving support. And if that is you, oh, I'm so excited for you. We've had a couple new people join recently, and I'm so excited for them on their journey. It's magic. It truly is magic. I wish it's magic, and you won't believe it until you experience it for yourself. So I hope that you do. I hope that you're ready soon. And thank you for spending Monday nights with me. I'll see you soon. All right. Take care.